Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? You can see in the title below that I have a fun one for you, so I thought, why don't we just keep this casual, have some fun with this, and unbox a special edition of an Oppo Reno5. That's right, we have the Marvel Edition of the Oppo Reno5. I love how much attention to detail Oppo put into this entire experience. Not only into the phone itself and its design inside and out, but also to all of the accessories and even the box itself. Even the inside of the lid has the Avengers drawn on it. The 6 original, what we have here are Hawkeye, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and Black Widow. Which, by the way, are the logos that you see on the first layer of the box contents. This particular layer just had a little bit of documentation, nothing too special there aside from the sleeve that had the logos on there, and then we get to the actual phone itself. It is a thin and light phone, which is still impressive the way it was back on the Reno 5 Pro that I reviewed. But once we get past the plastic, I can already feel a textured backing. It's one thing for it to look so cool with the Avengers logo in the middle and the colors that are inspired by the Avengers and Marvel, but it also feels really nice. If you take a look at the various areas of the backing, you have a different texture to them. This one's matted and this one actually has a pattern to it. As a matter of fact, this colorway is directly inspired by the quantum suit that the Avengers wore in Avengers Endgame. We'll take a look at the design even more a little bit later, but let's get to the rest of the box contents. The first thing we see after the phone is an awesome case. It is a thin plastic case, but it has this wonderful design on the back, again, with all of the Avengers drawn on it with the Marvel logo. Think of all those times that you might be looking for accessories to just show off things that you're really interested in. Well, this is included with the phone, and this is exactly the kind of case that I would love to have for a phone like this. Granted, the phone looks so good already that I'm not sure I want to cover it up with this case. Both look so good, it's kind of hard to choose. The attention to detail continues with the included accessories. You get the full bevy of them. We start off with the headphones, which actually have the Captain America shield on one earbud and then the Iron Man symbol on the other. Now, these are also 3.5mm headphone jack headphones because there is a headphone jack on this phone, but that also means that these headphones are probably ones I'll be happy to have as like a backup pair in my backpack. And then we get to the charging cable, which is accompanied by a charging brick. Super excited to see that this power brick works in US plugs, that way I don't have to use an adapter. And also, this phone does support 50-watt flash charging, though I will admit that it probably should have been called Quicksilver Charge. So with all of that said, I go through some of the setup and immediately, as I do with most phones, I just go straight into the Google Play Store, which again is a wonderful detail that I wanted to share about this device. A little while back, I did another unboxing of an Oppo device. That was a League of Legends Tournament Edition, and I was really excited because it was such a beautiful looking device. The design was out of this world. Unfortunately, that phone only came with a Chinese ROM, so I wasn't even able to use it as a regular everyday device. Meanwhile, this Reno 5, even though it might not have 5G capabilities, is a global device with a global ROM. So that means I can access Google Play services and be able to install everything using this phone as a daily driver if I want to. And you know what? That just might happen because this is one of the coolest smartphones that I have ever had, and I probably will want to use it at least once in a while. I mentioned that this is not a 5G device, so let's go through some of the top-level specifications for this version, the Marvel Edition of the Oppo Reno5. That lack of 5G is due to the Snapdragon 720G. Now, it is a G platform processor, which means it can do some gaming. So you know me, I went ahead and installed games like Ragnarok M and Genshin Impact, and I'm going to put a few more on here to enjoy the gaming on this device. Games and media should all look pretty great on here with a 6.4-inch AMOLED display. This is a full HD plus panel capable of 90Hz refresh rate, which is pretty good for most of the games that you can find in the Play Store. And since it is an AMOLED display, there are proper always-on display options here. Not to mention the fact that ColorOS 11 provides a ton of customization options for said AOD. This Marvel Edition of the Oppo Reno 5 comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of expandable storage. And finally, as far as the battery is concerned, we have 4,310 mAh in that unit. Once again, easy to top up with the 50-watt flash charging. And the animation for the charging is inspired by Iron Man's heads-up display. Now, I'm not diving too deeply into the camera package here, but it is very similar to the Oppo Reno 5 Pro that I've already reviewed, so you can check that video out in the link above and in the description below. That said, we have a 64-megapixel main sensor, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide, and two 2-megapixel backups, one of them being, of course, a macro. As far as the front-facing camera is concerned, it is a 44-megapixel shooter. All of this attention to detail also influences the software experience. You can already see that there are custom wallpapers here and a lot of custom icons, some of which are corresponding to specific applications. I'll just name off a few of the highlights. The phone icon is inspired by Nick Fury. The camera icon is the center chess piece from Iron Man. The messaging app is inspired by the Captain America uniform, and the browser icon is from Vision. And even if there's no corresponding icon for certain applications, they're still wrapped up in a circle that just lets them blend in with the rest of the motif. Overall though, ColorOS 11 is nice and optimized and definitely moving smoothly across this 90Hz refresh rate screen. And finally, we have a customizable lock screen. Here on the lock screen, if you hit this little icon down here, it allows you to switch up the wallpaper on the lock screen. You can pick one of the 6 Avengers or just have the Avengers logo. Even though all of these wallpapers look super cool, you may or may not be able to see them too often if you use any of the biometrics to easily get past the lock screen. Still, it's all greatly appreciated. If you remember my last unboxing of a special edition device, I was saying why don't we see more phones like this? So when Oppo reached out and said, hey, do you want to try out the Marvel edition of the Oppo Reno5? You know I jumped right on it, and I'm very appreciative to be able to try out one of the most unique phones that I think I've ever had my hands on. It's just so cool to have a device that you might end up using every single day, also have the stylings of things that you are really interested in. And even just looking at the design of this phone, I think Oppo did a wonderful job ensuring that that feeling permeates from the look to the feel to the actual experience of the smartphone. Honestly, I find myself sometimes just staring at this phone, marveling at it, if you will. Pun alert. Well, I also think this is really good timing because we just got done with WandaVision and now we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier playing at the moment, so everything is kind of Marvel right now, and this came in just in time for all of that. For more unboxings of cool smartphones like this and beyond, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. With all of that said, I'm going to call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching, take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.